Hey there, y'all. This is Jack, and today we're discussing Ragnarok, Jack the Ripper versus Shiva. And yeah, this is going to be a very interesting episode because again, Shiva was actually supposed to go in rounds 2, 3, and he got even pushed out even 4 till he got eventually to round 5 against Raiden. So yeah, we're gonna see what would happen if actually Shiva actually fought Jack the Ripper. I think that's actually a pretty interesting fight because if we put Shiva against Adam, yeah, Adam wins. If we put Shiva against Kojiro, Kojiro wins. Now, Jack versus Shiva. That's an interesting one. All right. Now we're gonna be going through this as in characters, as they will be in characters. All right. So I believe if Shiva was presented with to fight in London, I believe Shiva would accept it, just like he accepted essentially all of Raiden's moves. He wanted to see what Raiden was capable of. With sumo, so he wanted to see what he wanted to do. So I totally believe Shiva would accept. Yeah, we'll fight in London. Now, how does that go? Well, we'll see. All right. Well, we'll do it in 3 ways. We'll go through within characters, and then with no London, and then them just if we just put them together and just outside forces controlling them, like if they're if we just like if they're being video game characters, just like in like essentially any Dragon Ball Z game, you can just clash at each other, just go at it. So yeah, we'll go with that. Though I think you can imagine how that outcome would go. But all right, so we'll go through Jack the Ripper's weapons, utilities, and his feats essentially. So all right, Jack the Ripper. First time we see him, two giant blades that turn to scissors. Okay, pretty good. I'll say that. And also, his gun that he has that shoots grappling hooks. He has more than one because you see him fire one and shoots another one to try to get away from Hercules. And also, knives. Lots and lots of knives. He's pulling his inner deal and he doesn't just throw knives. He could actually curve them too. So Jack's got the skills to pay the bills already. But that's not it. He's also got an umbrella, which is actually sturdy enough to to deflect an attack from Hercules' club when he spins it. Very good there, I gotta say. And also, not to mention, Jack is very intelligent enough. I don't know how he does it, but he's able to throw wires and he's able to stand on them incredibly fast before even Hercules could even catch on to what's going on. And he's able to stand on the wires, able to throw the blades, the knives at the wires at the ends, hit the wire, and he just propels them as they just start curving all around, hitting other wires to deflect around to hit their enemy. So again, very very dangerous. And also the big main one, his gloves. Anything his gloves touch becomes the divine weapon, and very very dangerous. That he can even turn the entire city of London into a weapon. In fact, it's crazy. I gotta say, it's very crazy. And not to mention, he could even turn his cloak into a divine weapon, where he's able to easily, effortlessly cut a building down and have it come down right on Hercules. And Jack runs at Hercules and jumps at Hercules as Hercules dodges, and Jack just lands and jumps away right into the collapsed building window, and he manages to get out as the building comes crumbling down on Hercules. So yeah, Jack, he's very intelligent and very sneaky, very crafty. That guy, he's got a lot of things going for him. All right, so yeah, all right, now we'll go with Shiva. Shiva's an interesting one, I gotta say, because Shiva and Rudra went and fought over 1,000 Indian gods. We don't know how long it took or if they took any rest. We only saw their journey on just taking on the Indian gods. I won't be taking exhaustion that much. I guess prolonged fight into this fight because we really see that when Jack and Hercules fought, they Hercules wasn't really out of breath. And to me, it seems like Shiva could fight for an extended, very very long time, just from what I could tell. So yeah, I won't be taking that into account. But I just want to point out that Shiva is very strong, where he's able to fight multiple Indian gods. If you just say, well, he fought half of them, well, he still fought over 500 Indian gods. So that's still pretty good, right? And okay, now with Shiva's durability, he's pretty good, but we don't ever see him take any slashing or any like stabbing damage. The only time we ever see him take somewhat of a slashing damage is when Raiden makes his arm big, strikes at Shiva, and hits Shiva's chest and cuts him. But again, never against anything like a blade. So very interesting to think, what would a blade do? I would think obviously a blade would hurt Shiva for sure if if Raiden's fingers were able to graze him and cut him. And then again, Shiva. massive endurance. Raiden just immediately goes drops kick Shiva in the face and just starts trying to wail on Shiva to just end the fight as soon as possible, but Shiva stops it. And yeah, again, Shiva again could take massive damage, especially to the head. So again, very, very interesting all that, I gotta say. Especially when him and Raiden just grab each other and they just start hitting each other on the forehead and just slamming them. I do believe at some points in the round, they Raiden, when he hits Shiva, it does disrupt the ground. I don't think it shatters the ground. I think it does disrupt it. And they do say that it breaks the sound barrier. So interesting as he hits Shiva and just sends Shiva flying, just destroying two of his arms. So again, yeah, Shiva very, very durable, I gotta say. All right, and then we got one of Shiva's moves here, the Forgive Me India, the Sarvaga Kimono. So yeah, when he starts dancing, he just becomes very unpredictable in his fighting style, where where he's just able to just start unlaunching massive barrages just on his enemy. So again, when he's up close, it's very, very dangerous. And then he starts heating up with his dance moves with his power as he starts dancing. He starts getting lighted up with Kurtivasa. Again, I'm so sorry, India. I'm positive I'm pronouncing this wrong. I'm trying, all right. And then if that's not hot enough for you, that's when he starts going to his ultimate move where he gets his hand and starts pumping his own heart to pump it faster and faster and faster to finally get into his secret weapon, the Tankava Karma. So yeah, he's just essentially this mode. It's extremely powerful where he's just completely covered in flames, and anytime you hit him or he hits you, it's just flame damage to you. But there is a cost to this, of course. He's burning himself too. That he's actually even damaging himself. That if he goes too long in this form, he will turn to ash and die. So that's a big factor in this fight too. I gotta say. And Shiva is just as nimble and everything in this fight. The only time you ever see Shiva, really, not in it is when he gets one of his arms destroyed, ripped off. He's not balanced all that correctly. He's kind of thrown off just for a little bit, just for a little while, just like for like I believe like a page or two, but it doesn't really affect him all that much later in the fight. So yeah, all right, let's go through it. All right, let's go through it. Okay, we'll go through it as we progress like in the story. It'd be very similar to what happened in the manga slash anime, where they both confront each other in London. Announce she was just ready to hype up, and Jack's like, okay, yeah, this one's quite the lively one. All right, okay, but I believe the same exact thing would happen. Jack would show the scissors, cut the light pole, and then essentially, just and then kind of show off, and then she would be like, "All right, it's time to throw down," and Jack would just run away. Again, it would be the exact same thing like in the manga. Jack would just run away. Shiva would be just like Hercules, just be irritated, just chase Jack, and right there, Shiva would notice the string. I do believe he would notice that as Jack would kind of lure him with the T. Jack would or Hercules or sorry, I kind of want to jump back to Hercules. Chief again would just hit the knives, and the knives would just come right again, right at Shiva. And just like with Hercules, Shiva would be like, "Yeah, human weapons won't work on me," and as just do the exact same thing. As he would go up to or Jack, he would try to hit Jack. Jack again, the gun just pull away. And Hercules, well, this time not like similar to Hercules, but I do think because Hercules does jump and attack Jack. Jack I would believe that Shiva would more than likely just grab onto the building and just climb up insanely fast. That it would just outpace Jack. Shiva would beat Jack up to the top of the building and just essentially try to hit Jack as Jack would fall down and catch himself, and then Shiva would land right back down and essentially just try to hit him. And Jack would use the scissors to try cutting him, and easily Shiva would just destroy the scissors. They'd be nothing. And as that's happening, Jack would obviously have the umbrella ready to start using his spin, just hit Shiva's arms out of the way. But again, I don't think that would really work all extremely too well with against Jack. Because again, when Raiden used his arms up as shields, yeah, Shiva just essentially was like, "All right, I'm ready to take this on." Just starts pounding at the shield, at Raiden's shield, and was essentially just breaking it down, turning it to ash. I do believe the shield would deflect Shiva's first few moves, but when it just comes to it in the end, I think Shiva just eventually just be able to destroy the umbrella pretty dang afterwards effortlessly. And then after that, Jack would just retreat again and jump on the wires, and that time Shiva would be like, "Wait, what's? hold on, how in the world are you standing? And then Jack would be like, yeah, I got wires. And she was like, all right, it won't be nothing. And that's when Jack would do the other thing where he'd uh, throw the knives out at the strings and they'd start bouncing around. She was like, okay, yeah, this is nothing again. And then this time they would stab him. I would say again, this is not similar to. I would say this is where it starts taking a major depart because in the manga, Hercules managed to hit Jack and Jack just slammed against the wall. That Jack got the knives and threw them at Hercules, and that's when Hercules got impaled. I don't think that would work with Shiva. Shiva would not. I don't think when Shiva breaks the umbrella, I don't think it would knock Jack back. I think it would just break the umbrella, and Jack would have to fall back. And then Shiva would be like, "Yeah, I mean, you really can't do nothing against me at this point." And of course, that's when the night. I think that's when we take the somewhat of a detour, but it starts somewhat remaining the same. I would say, but some things would be different because again, Shiva would play a bit differently. Like this time, as all the blades hit Shiva, and she was like realizing what's going on, like oh freak, like what's going on. I don't think Shiva would immediately catch on. Wait, the gloves are are Jack's secret weapon, the Volding. I don't think he would catch on to that first. I think he'd be thinking, okay, hold on, so wait, is it actually the pouch? And then that's what Jack would Jack in character give it away. I don't think he would at this point, but I do think Shiva would be on the defense of like, okay, hold on. So it probably was. So obviously it wasn't the scissors. It wasn't those strings. It was probably the pouch. Whatever's in the pouch, it becomes a divine weapon. Again, Shiva's not the most intelligent guy. I think we can all admit that, but he's not extremely dumb. Like for sure, he's not. But he did allow Raiden to open up some moves on him, because he wanted to see what they were doing. So I got to take that into consideration. But yeah, then with Shiva getting hit by that, then Jack would continue doing the knives. But unlike Hercules, where Hercules was getting hit again because they were the blades were just curving around and hitting Hercules. I think Shiva at this point would just immediately just back away, just get out of there, and as the knives would just be hitting him, and Shiva would receive some damage because remember he's not as big as Hercules. Hercules, he's a big beefy guy. Shiva again, he's big, but he's not as big and beefy. So when the knives hit him, it would do a little bit more damage to Shiva. But of course, at this point, I would imagine Shiva would just get up to the building, and start smashing it to where one side would just start collapsing, and Jack would fall off, and he would land on the ground. And right there, we get Shiva just trying to come right at Jack to close in the distance, but Jack, of course, being Jack, would get the knives and start throwing them at Shiva. She would start obviously moving around, and they would start curving and start hitting Shiva. And Shiva at this point would realize, okay, yeah, this is I'm getting messed up. And I believe this is the part where she would be like realizing, okay, yeah, this is bad. This is bad, and I can't afford to be playing around anymore. This is serious. And we probably get more of a Shiva when we first saw Shiva get angry at Zeus, and he kind of had like he was like we never see this again. But when he gets angry, all five of his eyes are wide open. He just has like this sinister look on him. I believe that we'd get that Shiva in this fight for sure. As Shiva would start realizing, okay, I have to really start serious. And then that's when he would start doing his hidden treasure, the the hidden treasure of Savarga, and he would start dancing, and that's when the knives he would start dancing towards Jack. But of course, the dance again, the knives as Jack's throwing them, they're being curved, and so Shiva would obviously be taking that into consideration. But I do believe some of the knives would be hitting Shiva. He won't be dodging all of them. Where Hercules, when Jack was doing that, Jack or Hercules was just swiping them with his weapon. But at this point, yeah, Shiva, he can't do that. So he'd be coming up right to Jack, and Jack would be realizing, okay, yeah, this is pretty bad here. Jack would essentially get out of there. He'd use the grappling hook to get out of there. Shiva would immediately just go right under the building. I assume again because Shiva would just be dancing and essentially just destroying the building, causing Jack to more likely fall again. But as Jack is falling down, he'd more likely jump, making his way to Big Ben, go right at the base of Big Ben, use his cape to slice Big Ben as Big Ben comes falling down. And Shiva, I do believe Shiva at this point would more than likely try to dodge, but what would he do if he saw Jack full on sprinting, running right at Shiva? I would think Shiva would probably try to hit him. He'd probably try to kick him. I believe that's what Shiva would try to do. But of course, that wouldn't really work because Jack would more than likely use that to his advantage to jump off Shiva's leg, go right into Big Ben, and just come crashing down on Shiva. And Shiva would receive massive damage, way more damage than we saw Hercules. Because again, turning that entire building into a divine weapon, to an actual building that can actually hurt you. I think we could all agree that Shiva, when it comes to actual physical strength, Hercules more than likely has a lot of physical strength. But when it comes to endurance and taking damage, Shiva's got plenty of that. I do believe Shiva would receive a lot of damage, but he would come out of it. He would break out. This would not be enough to take down Shiva. As Jack seems to be victorious, Shiva would just emerge out of it, but very, very furious and very angry. And he would be, yeah, at this point he realized, okay, yeah, I have to get very, very serious now. As he would plunge his fingers into his heart, and that's when he'd start pumping his heart to go into secret weapon, the Tagava Karma. And that's when he just start flaming and just starts essentially, yeah, Jack would have to realize at this point, yeah, this is getting very, very serious here. Well, I mean, more serious than it was before. But this time Shiva would be very, very mangled and be again blood. He had multiple stab wounds throughout his body, as he just rips has all his forearms at this point, just throwing all the knives out. But he would be bleeding out but the flames would cauterize the wounds. But again, he's got multiple wounds, multiple stab wounds throughout his whole body, and with that, I would believe the flames would be able to would more than likely be burning his body pipe faster with all those wounds in him, right? So with that happening, she would realize, okay, yep, got to take you down, Jack, and then he would go right at Jack again. And Jack again, I believe Jack at this point, he's not going to try to take Shiva head on. He just can't afford that. But I do believe he would go and try to hit Jack, and Jack would just kind of, again, try to go with the long distance knife game again. But I would think at this point, again, Shiva would be getting hit with knives, but not as much as before, and close the distance and land a massive 4-hit combo right on Jack, sending Jack flying back. Now you might be saying, "Wait, is that the end of Jack? Wait, would that kill Jack? No, that would not be enough to kill Jack. Why? Good reason, because Hercules, he grazed Jack and hit Jack, right? That caused Jack to stumble a bit, but then Hercules backhand hits Jack, and Jack gets sent flying away, and he was still alive. He was a bit dazed, but he was still alive and still conscious enough to, I gotta keep fighting, and I have a plan to beat Hercules. So if this happened to Jack, she would be like, yeah, like I more likely killed him. Wait, he's still alive. As again, Jack's he's a human, but he has an incredible feat when it comes to actually getting hit and actually surviving it. And remember, the form that he got hit with Hercules was the form after he got merged with the Cerberus. So again, this is a serious serious attack, right? And Jack got up, and he was still able to. He was still in a daze, but he was still able to come up with a plan to keep fighting, and that's he's the bar. But right here, I think Jack would be like realizing, okay, yeah, that's bad, but I could see that she was more than likely taking some damage from that heat. So I just gotta play it and just start, play it out and just hopefully he doesn't hit me again. And then of course, the fight would continue as Shiva just charging and Jack just, whirling around throughout the building. But Shiva would more than likely at this point, I believe, would easily be able to just destroy the buildings with far more less effort. Essentially, I think this fight would come down to Shiva would actually level all of London to just get to stop Jack from trying to get away, and I do believe Shiva would be able to do that. So what would happen to Jack at this point? Well, I do believe at this point in the last building, Jack would fall with the rubble, and she would be waiting for Jack to come out. As Jack comes out, just doing that daze thing again, and he would start singing "London bridges falling down, falling down, falling down. London bridges falling down, my fair lady." And Shiva would essentially just come right up to Jack and be like, "Yeah, this is it," And right there, Shiva would do his his kick to just sever Jack's head, and I believe at this point, Jack would just crouch down, dodge the attack, and use his cape to just sever Shiva's leg. And right there, with that, as she was spinning around with his leg severed, boom, gets two of his other arms, and Shiva would be very, very incredibly off balance at that point. Imagine him losing a leg, losing two arms. He'd be very off balance, and I believe right there, Jack would just start with a bunch of knives impaling Shiva, and yeah, that would be the end of Shiva. Shiva would obviously, die, but I do believe Shiva would be angry, but be like, okay, human, you got me, you bested me. I failed, but you know what? We guys, we got we'll still win this. And Jack would not change like he did in the manga, where he'd be more like I guess not. How would you explain Jack's change? More like when he fought Hercules, he won the actual physical battle, but when it came to a morale battle, he lost to Hercules because he was unable to change Hercules' color. Here, Jack would just have fun. He would have fun with Shiva, just taking advantage of Shiva's anger, taking advantage of the situation, and seeing Shiva just being angry at Jack in his last moments. That would just give Jack glee as he just finishes off Shiva, and right there, Jack wins the match. And yeah, I legit do believe Jack wins over Shiva with London, of course. I'd say Jack with London against Shiva. I say he wins. I would say probably 7, 8 times out of 10. I think it's more likely you bet on Jack because Jack would just outsmart Shiva. Again, Shiva's not incredibly stupid, but he's not the brightest Indian god. But Jack would just take advantage of that of his again Shiva not going all out in the beginning like he should, and Jack would just overcome Shiva, and Shiva would just burn out and just be taken out. If not, Jack would just finish him off himself. And also, so yeah, Jack wins. But now let's go with the other scenarios. Jack versus Shiva, no London. Yeah, Shiva wins, but it's closer than you might think. I think Shiva does win. I just think you just switch around where Shiva wins. Probably I would say 8 to 9 to Jack 1 to 2 at most. So when I say it's closer than you think, I mean it's not 0 to 1. I think Jack would not be that bad, but he'd lose. He'd give a good fight though. And all right, now you get 2 controllers. Give it to any gamers controlling them, with their same stats, and you have them rush at each other. Yeah, Shiva wins. He just bashes down Jack. Jack gets in a couple of good stabs, but yeah, Shiva wins. So yeah, if within character, Jack wins, but out of character, like someone else is controlling them, yeah, Shiva wins for sure. So yeah, that concludes my Jack versus Shiva fight. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think I got it right, or do you guys think I got it wrong? Let me know. And also, is there any other fights you'd like me to go into? Like who would actually win in a versus fight? I'm thinking of doing Hajun versus Beelzebub. I did that on my last channel because that channel got deleted. So I might do it again because that was a fun video. But if you guys have any other suggestions of any other verses like verses we could have gotten but we didn't get, or just 2 fights you'd like to see, please let me know, and I'll be getting back to you on that. All right. So anyway, you guys take care and have a good one. Later, guys.